For my topic, I chose to talk about euphemisms because I didn't know what euphemisms were, and I didn't know that we use them on a day-to-day basis. For my article, I chose Euphemism and Language Change, the 6th and 7th Ages, from Kate Burridge from the Journal in English Lexicology. Some terms that would be important to know are euphemism itself. Euphemism can be a word or a phrase that is used in place of another word or a phrase that would be considered too blunt or too harsh to say. Diplomatic would be another term to know. Diplomatic is the ability to deal with people in a sensitive way. The complete opposite of these terms would be dysphemism, which is the complete opposite of euphemism, whereas euphemism, you want to not offend somebody. Dysphemism, you don't care to offend somebody. Finally, the word taboo would be used. Prohibited is a word or phrase that is prohibited or restricted by social customs. Euphemism and dysphemism are powerful words that both provide powerful impact on the people that use them and the people that are being talked to about euphemism. Taboo words are very dynamic and strongly affect the people who are being who are using taboos. Taboos are always changing. They're always going along with the customs. For example, a few years ago, they would say it would be inappropriate to talk about a woman's skirt or her leg. Those would be things like taboo, that they are words that we do not no longer consider inappropriate. I think xphemism is an important term to know as well. Xphemism can be used in evaluating people's expressions and determining what can be used for the situation, such as if you should continue talking with the conversation and carrying it along like everything's fine, or if the person seems sensitive with the matter and like you should use euphemisms to coat the situation, such as your dog died or your dog passed away. It's very cool with xphemism because you don't have to know how the person is feeling directly. They don't have to say, I don't want you to use that term. You can tell by expression whether or not you should use certain terms or not. By using xphemism to evaluate somebody's emotions to determine how you should say something to somebody is good etiquette, and that is in the article as a study that has been proven. For the next topic, I'm going to read this paragraph from my article. The taboos of social convention in the Western world rest on traditions of etiquette and are therefore set by social parameters such as age, sex, education, social status, and the like. They are sometimes observed in private, though they are the strongest in the public domain, where euphemism becomes the polite thing to do, and dysphemism little more than the breaking of a social convention. The reason I focus on that specifically is to ask the question, is euphemism always the appropriate way to go? And is dysphemism always the inappropriate way to go? So is euphemism a good thing or not? Well, this article suggests that euphemism might be just lying, because no euphemism says how it is in a given context. Something tabooed can be spoken acceptably with using euphemism, but not using the direct term. Again, I'm going to read from my article. The euphemistic vocabulary of language varieties such as military, political, and medical jargons adds additional dimensions of guile and secrecy to the disguise. Here, euphemism is used not so much to conceal offense, but to deliberately disguise a topic and to deceive. This is the sort of doublespeak that turns death into a substantive negative patient care outcome, a diagnostic misadventure of the highest magnitude, or a terminal episode, dying into terminal living and killing into the unlawful. This is providing a deprecation of the word euphemism. So is euphemism actually a good term? Is that actually something that we should be relying on? George Orwell actually did a study on this, and his famous quote would be, "Designed to make lies sound truthful and murder respectable, and to give an appearance of solidity to pure wind." Sweeter words might provide us a sweeter world. But his study also, he has found that really it's just an easy excuse for us to hide from our responsibilities. Other terms that euphemism is used is not always positive. For instance, there are derogatory terms that we use of euphemism that stands for things of drugs. There's get snotty, to use heroin, candy sticks for marijuana cigarettes laced with powdered cocaine, gym sticks for steroids used by athletes, hugs and kisses for methamphetamine and, big word of it's meth, and Klingons for crack addicts. So then, would euphemism be lying? And would it be good at all to use euphemism? If I was in the hospital with a sick family member and the doctor came out and said, "Oh, they've seen better days," would I appreciate that euphemism to protect my feelings? Or would I be upset because they're not being honest with me? I think euphemisms are important in the sense of not offending anybody, and I think euphemisms are going to continue to be used as they probably should, and they're going, as the article suggests, they're going to grow with the generation, and different terms are going to be used, just taboo terms that are no longer acceptable. It's going to grow as the generations go, and different terms are not going to be acceptable, and we'll use euphemism to disguise different other words, and dysphemism and xphemism always to not offend people and not say exactly what we are intended to say.